You're listening to the Quran Tafsir, Understanding the Word of Allah, a podcast dedicated to explaining the Quran, presented by various reliable scholars. This podcast is powered by Seekers Hub Global. Visit seekershub.org for online courses, our Q&A service with reliable scholars, and engaging media.
الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. ربنا انفعنا بما علمتنا، ربي علمنا ما ينفعنا، ربي زدنا علما. يا حي يا قيوم برحمتك نستغيث ومن عذابك نستجير، أجرنا يا الله من خزي الدنيا ومن عذاب الآخرة. يا ربي يا الله بارك لنا فيما تبقى من رمضان، اجعل هذه الأيام وهذه الليالي خيرا وبركة وفتحا وقربا منك يا الله. املأ بها قلوبنا يا الله بمحبته صلى الله عليه وسلم، وشربنا يا الله من كأس المحبة يا الله، وأذقنا يا الله حلاوة الإيمان، واجعلنا يا رب يا الله بحفظك وعيادك وحرزك وأمانك. سبحانك لا نحصي ثناء عليك أنت كما أثنيت على نفسك. May Rabbi subhanahu wa ta'ala, ya Rabbi, from the drink of dhawq, taste. When we speak about dhawq, about taste, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said in that very authentic hadith, inspiring us in telling us there is something else that exists other than knowledge and belief and implementation and actions. There is a different world and another world that exists, and it is the word of dhawq. Dhawq in Arabic is taste. But when they speak about dhawq and taste, they speak about the special taste, something that you've never tasted. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if you have three things, you will taste the sweetness of Iman. Taste. Subhanallah, Ya Rabbi, what is this dhawq? What is this taste, Ya Rasulullah, that you are speaking about? He said, it is a drink and it is something that is in your tongue, but you feel it in your heart and you feel it in your soul. You live in this moment of, subhanallah, as there was one of the tabi'een. They threw him, I'm not going to go into details, but he was going through a lot of different punishments and adhab. And yet they will never see him in a state of anger or despair or argument. And we've seen it as well with Sayyidina Musa al-Kadhim, the great grandson of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, when he was tortured by the authorities at his time. And subhanallah, Sayyidina Musa al-Kadhim, the people who were torturing him, they've chained him in the sun, in that very hot weather of Iraq, in the daytime. And he could see them playing, and they used to go for hunting in front of him. And yet they were so scared from him, because the only power that he had is people love him. And all the power that they had, all the resources that they had, all the money that they had, it didn't buy them that love that they have for Sayyidina Musa al-Kadhim. So that jealousy made them, subhanallah, to torture him. And the Khalifa at that time, the king, when he was going to war for his hunting, he used to say, I don't want to leave him behind me in prison. Because the people who love him, they might come, they might go into the prison, and they might take him out. So they used to torture him, and the man, subhanallah, instead of speaking or being angry or being upset, they used to see him living in a different world. That is not illusion. That is what Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam dhaqa. If you have three things, you will taste the sweetness of Iman. If we have time, we go to the three, but inshallah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us taste from that sweetness. And it is very important as we are doing tafsir to understand how these ulama, this end is not only that they were sitting down and studying and going to their teachers, they've achieved this. They've achieved this to the purity of their hearts and of their heart and their tongues and their soul. They will carry nothing bad for anyone else. Because there is no room for that. Yes, you can speak. Yes, you can plan. Yes, you can say this is right, this is wrong. But that heart is sold already. Allah said, Inna Allah ashtara min al-mu'minina anfusahum wa amwalahum. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bought from the believers their life, their soul, and all what they own. Our Salihin, they say, look at Rabbi subhanahu wa ta'ala's rahmah. He gave you, and He created you, and then He makes you as you own yourself, as you've created yourself, and He makes you in another side of Him. Look at His rahmah. Look at the respect and the honor that Allah gives you. And Allah created you. You own nothing. Everything that you have is from Him. As He said, وَمَا بِكُم مِّن نِعْمَةٍ فَمِنَ اللَّهِ. He created you, He gave you, He sustained you. Yani nothing, we don't survive. Whatever we have is from Him. And yet Allah says that you are coming to me voluntarily. You are worshipping me voluntarily. So Allah said, as if you are selling yourself to me. Ya Allah, look at this honor. And then take the understanding of this ayah from me now. Because there are many people, masakin, they don't understand the meaning of this ayah, and they attack the Quran because of this ayah. They think, God is saying that He bought your life is from you. He is respecting you, He is honoring you. He making you as if you own yourself, as you've created yourself, and you are coming to Him voluntarily. Subhanahu. Subhanaka Rabbi. So, subhanallah. You don't have a room to think about anyone else other than Him. But subhanallah, these salihin, these ulama, they went through a lot to learn. Subhanallah, one of the oldest book that we have is the book of Sayyidina Imam al-Tabari. Yani the first written book that we have so far now. There were many other books before him, but subhanallah, most of that books, they might remain. But the first book we have is for Ibn Jarir al-Tabari. Ibn Jarir al-Tabari, rahmatullah alayhi, speaking about his journey with the Quran, his journey with the knowledge. He said, subhanallah, at the beginning of his book, speaking about this, he said, I was studying in Mecca. And he said, I didn't have anything to eat. He said, as if my skin was touching my bones. And then he said, there was another man. Rabbi blessed him with 7 girls. And his wife. So this man, he said, he was in his house and he was extremely hungry. And then he couldn't stay at home because seeing his wife and his daughters crying. And this man, he cannot go and get them food. And at that time, there was no jobs, see. There was no jobs. And in Mecca, there is no farming. And how many people can do business in that environment? So Miskeen, he said the man was very hungry. Then, so he just said he wanted to come and to rest in the haram. While he was sitting, as if something was, disturbing his seat. So he started trying to touch, so he touched something very smooth. Then when he touched it, it was, they used to put their money in a belt before. So the man, he touched it and he saw there is some money in it. So this is human nature, Miskeen. He was hungry, and then he found, and then he went running to his house. And he opened and he counted 1,000 dinar, gold dinar. Then he remembered the hadith. I'm not quite sure if you know this. In Mecca, you are not allowed to pick anything that was thrown. Whether it is money, whether it is anything, you don't. It is haram in Mecca and Medina. If you found even thousands of pounds in front of you, you cannot. But it's haram. How we do now, it is different. Okay? And do not worry, there are many people that they will take care of it. No one will wait for you for that. If it is khair and deen and this, you might find many people that they have zuhd in that. But for this, no one have a zuhd. So, subhanAllah, the man remembered this. He said, even so he was hungry, extremely hungry, and he is allowed to eat from this. He said, oh, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, it is haram to take things that were thrown in Mecca. So he said, I am not going to feed my kids and my family from haram. And yet at the same time he had as well said, what if I return it back? What is going to happen to my family? And here you understand when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that authentic hadith, when he saw Sayyidina Hassan, Sayyidina Hussein, they were struggling. And he was in his mimbar sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he came down and he carried his kids and he went up sallallahu alaihi wasallam the mimbar and he said, children are fitna. This is Sayyidi sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying, I cannot continue my, la ilaha illallah. There is no great guidance more than this. Yes, he is teaching, yes, he's in his mimbar, but he saw his kids struggling, so he said, subhanAllah, they come first. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And he's explaining, saying to people, do not blame, do not say this. He said, إِنَّ هَؤُلَاءِ الْأَوْلَادِ فِتْنَةً. They are tests from Rabbi subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why this is our understanding. Another hadith when he said, الْوَلَدُ مَجْبَلَةٌ وَمَبْخَلَةٌ. He said, children are a means of greed and cowardness. Yeah, because you can do whatever you want, but when you have kids, you think about them. So this makes you coward. But this is positive coward, because this is what Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said. And you want to do things, you want to buy things, and you think about them, so you stop. So this man, may Allah have rahmah on him. We are speaking about a wali here. We don't know his name because Ibn Jarir al-Tabari, he didn't tell us. He respected the privacy of that man. But he's speaking about himself. So he said, this man, he said, he came to the haram. The man, the owner of the money came and he started saying, who found my 1,000 dinar? So this man is testing him. He said, you can give him 100 dinar. The man said, no. I didn't give him even 1 dinar. So I said, you can give him even at least 50 dinar. The man said, I will give him nothing. He returned back my money, all my money. And it is haram to take something from Mecca. I would never forgive in dunya and akhirah. And the man keep telling him, at least you can give him 10 dinar. The man says, no. So he went back to his house. It shows you that it is all strife. It's not easy. He came back again. The man, the next day, he's asking for his money. And this man is saying, at least give him 1 dinar, he can buy bread for his family. The man said, I will give him nothing. I want my money. I will not forgive in dunya or akhirah. Then the man said, I take your money. And his wife was upset with him. She was telling him, at least Allah said, if we don't eat anything, we are going to die. It has been more than a week. We didn't eat anything. And Allah said, if you are in extreme need, you can eat. Even you are allowed even to steal. Not even find some money. So the man, he came to her. So they had an argument. And he said, look, argument. And then he said, the one that I left it for him, if he, with his rahmah, give me something, alhamdulillah. Or at least I die, with this yaqeen, that I've done this for you, Ya Rab. Subhanallah, the man was keep going around. He came to him. This is Ibn Jarir narrated this. He said he gave him the 1,000 dinar. He said, I just want to see the amana and how the ummah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam are. So when he gave him the 1,000 dinar, his wife said, then it is halal for us, okay? He said, no, we are not going to touch it. Then he comes Ibn Jarir. He said, there is a young boy who's seeking knowledge. He was there in a haram. The time that we didn't eat, I didn't see him eating as well. So he said, this money is for all of us. And it comes to Adala. When he came home, he called Ibn Jarir with him to his house. He said, look, this is 1,000 dinar that Allah has given us. And we are 9. And you are number 10. So each one of us will take 100 dinar. And he said, subhanAllah, Ibn Jarir said, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put barakah for them in this 900. He said, I have my 100, my 100 dinar. He said, I didn't even spend from it even a penny, even anything. Because he said, from the 900, every day they were cooking and I was eating. He was buying me clothes. And then he gave me as well a space where can I sleep. Because in the haram it might be very crowded sometimes in the haram. He said, I've lived with this man. And he died. And he said, and after that, Ibn Jarir said, I was going back to Mecca after I became alim. And said, I used to go and eat food in that very house. He said, all his daughters, they've got married. So subhanallah, what Ibn Jarir is teaching you, this is, the way of achieving this ilm is not only learning, sitting with the mashayikh and reading. This taqwa, to leave something for the sake of Rabbi. Because one of the greatest definitions that we have for taqwa, for piety, the definition of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Do you want to say with me, at-taqwa hiya tarku ma ahalla Allah khashyata al-wuqu' fima harrama Allah. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, taqwa, piety is to avoid what is halal. Not what is haram. He said to avoid what is halal. Because if you keep taking from the halal, one day you might fall into the haram. To leave a space. That's why this issue of moderation, when he says sallallahu alaihi wasallam, 1/3 for your food, 1/3 for your drink, 1/3 for air. And when he used to say to the Sahaba radwanullah alayhim, ikhshawshinu, he said, live a simple life. The ni'mah will never, it will never remain as it is. And this is what they knew, the Sahaba. When the Christians of Najran came to see him, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam didn't look at them. They were going here and then. When they came to Sayyidina Ali said, did you went to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam like this, with this appearance? They said yes, because they were wearing all their golds and all. They thought they are respecting him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So they came with the best of their clothes, with all their gold and silk and subhanallah. Sayyidina Ali said no. He said, if you want him to look at you, wear something simple. What was Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's clothes? Qamis wasn't even a normal clothes of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He used to wear rida and izar. You know what rida and izar? The way that the Hujjaj and Mu'tamarin wear. 2-piece. One for the subhanallah. That's what how it was. And sometimes sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he is going fast, it will fall down. Very simple. Subhanallah. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala open for other doors of khair, Ya Rabbi. And this dhawq, this taste, this is what we need. Because it's supposed to be about knowledge. Shaitan is enough. Shaitan had ilm. If it was to be about ibadah, Shaitan was making ibadah. That's why they say our salihin, do not cry for something that you miss. Do not say, I missed this, I didn't do this ibadah, I didn't do this. Do not cry for that. If there is something that you have to cry for, is subhanallah, how your hal is with him, subhanallah. How your hal is with him, subhanallah. To see how your relationship is with him, subhanallah. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to the Sahaba while he was in jihad, he said to those who were with him, he said, there are some people in Medina we left behind us. They're not with us here. They're not with him. But he said they are in Medina behind us. He said, Wallahi, their reward is not less than your reward. And their iman is not less than your iman. And they are not they are close to us as you are close to us. Not about distance, not about where you are. It is in what state you are. May Allah open the door of khair for us, inshallah, ya Rabbi. So today, inshallah, we do Surat an-Nisa. Surat an-Nisa. We have 2 Surat an-Nisa in the Quran, by the way. Do you know that? We have Surat an-Nisa al-Kubra or Surat an-Nisa al-Sughra. Huh? يعني two Surah an-Nisa. There is no Surah of man.
Insan.
Yeah?
It's Surah Insan.
Surah Insan or what? Insan it includes as well. So we have two Surah Nisa. One is the Surah al-Talaq, it's called also Surah an-Nisa. In this Surah, Rabbi subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about the other half of the creation of Rabbi subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's not only about women that speaks, but most of it speaks about family. And about the relationship of the family. About the division of wealth. About the absolute human honor and dignity. In all this, subhanallah, from the rahmah of Rabbi subhanahu wa ta'ala, as Rabbi has honored woman by making this surah, by calling this surah Surah an-Nisa. It is surah that was revealed to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Medina, but not most of it, because the majority of it also was revealed in many. Some of it was in Mecca and after Mecca, but it started in Medina. Sayyida Aisha radiallahu anha, in hadith narrated by Imam Bukhari, says Surah an-Nisa was revealed after my marriage to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, after my wedding to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So she's saying it was revealed in Medina, but she's speaking about her honor, so she didn't say it was revealed in Medina. She's saying she wanted to include herself, and this is the barakah. And that was many of the Sahaba, they used to do that. Yani Amr ibn al-As, when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Amr ibn al-As, when he became Muslim, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam made him in charge, and he made him a commander of the army. So when he came back, Amr ibn al-As was a tough man, a tough negotiator, man of, you can say he was a politician. Tricks and planning and this. And most people, they go through this. They go to all these tricks and because of their insecurity. This is subhanallah, yani, whether they just want wealth, they want power, they want this. This is subhanallah someone that is not fully satisfied and happy with themselves anyway. So when he came to Medina, he saw something different. Amr ibn al-As, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was holding his hands, smiling at him. So this man, he had never had this attention, and he had never thought that this exists. You understand? And yet he had some of the remaining. He wanted to feel always special. And this is, as it is good, it is also dangerous sometimes, because when you don't feel that, it might drive you to rebel against your own beliefs. So Amr ibn al-As, he felt, he wanted this. He saw this attention, and he wanted everyone to know. So he came to conclusion. He thought about it, because he came from an environment. Only people, you make the people that they are so close to you because there is some kind of interest between you. And because you are special. So it is about him, you understand? It's not about, he didn't think about it. It is Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's generosity and love. He thought, because I have done something, and because I am so special, I am a good addition to this deed, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam loves me. Do you understand? So when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was sitting with the Sahaba, said, Ya Rasulullah, who do you love most? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he didn't even think. He said, Aisha. He said, Ya Rasulullah, I'm not speaking about woman, from man. He said, her father. He said, and then Umar, and then he was keep going. He said, when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam got to 20, he said, I stopped and I consider myself number 21. So Sayyidah Aisha radiallahu anha, she said, Rasulullah sallallahu, this surah was not revealed, she said, except after my marriage. So she's saying that she's including herself. And it is a great moment for her as well. From this, we say it is surah that was revealed in in Medina. There are 8 main subjects of this surah, and then inshallah we'll try to touch. At the very beginning, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminds us of our beginning as humans, and Rabbi subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about the only way to approach him is through piety, taqwa. The second point is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about the brotherhood between all humans, regardless of anything, whether it is their belief, their color, their anything. Rabbi subhanahu wa ta'ala to remind us, because Rabbi said Allah created you from one nafs, and this you cannot get rid of it. At the end, no matter whatever conflict you have, the problem that you have with your brother or with your sister, because your father is Adam and your mother is Hawa. So this is the second point. And I think we Muslims need a reminder of this more than anything else. When Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Medina, everyone melted in this love. They didn't even know one another. When the Sahaba were asking Sayyidina Salman, Ya Salman, where are you from? Where are you from, Ya Salman? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Salman is from Az'alul Bayt. Yani stop asking him, stop questioning him. And this, it gives us a room for everyone. When he said, Ana jaddu kullu taqiyyin wa bar, I am a grandfather of everyone that is pious and obedient to Rabbi subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is a rahmah from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And look at us now, subhanallah, we are very much shattered in every single thing. And when you start divided, there is no stop. There is no stop until you come to yourself. You keep saying, then subhanallah. And the third thing is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaking about the family lines and the in-laws and the relationship. All what we can say, in this deen, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts family at the center of everything. And the sacrifice that people do for their families. And that's why Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if you die defending your honor, your family, you are shaheed. You're not doing it for Allah, but you are respecting this family line that you have. The fourth point is Rabbi subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about the marriage, the contract of marriage, and the related regulations of marriage. And Rabbi subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks also about inheritance in details. And also Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks in this surah. Yes, it is soft, it's about women, but also Rabbi subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about the rules of fighting. And when you speak about fighting, you speak, subhanallah, this thing has added to it a meaning. It is human nature that you have to defend yourself. It's not something that is passive. You just say, okay, whoever fights with me, I will accept it. You never do that. This is your human nature. If someone was to come and take something away from you, will you give them? Say, no, it is okay, I have to be okay, easy. No, you don't do that. But subhanAllah, it added a lot of meaning. Just remember, it is this thing that we've never seen in any other civilization, and we'll never see it. When there was about to fight, Sayyidina Ali in the battlefield, this Jewish man, he wanted to provoke Sayyidina Ali, so he spit in his face. Sayyidina Ali said, I cannot fight with you now. He said, why? Because at the beginning I was fighting to defend my deen and my belief. But now, he said, I might be taking revenge for myself. And if I do so, I'm not going to be rewarded. This is great maqamat. This is the deen that he said when Sayyidina Usama ibn Zayd was telling Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Yeah, he was telling him about one of the first battlefields of Sayyidina Usama. He said, Ya Rasulullah, was fighting, and then this man from the kuffar was fighting with me, and then when I was about to kill him, he said, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu anna Rasulullah. Then I finished, I killed him. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam got upset and became very angry. Salam wa rahmatullah, ahlan. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. How are you? MashaAllah. You came yesterday?
Yeah.
And I didn't come, I'm sorry.
What?
I wasn't able to. But subhanAllah, I'm here today. Bless you. So, subhanAllah. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam got very upset and very angry at Sayyidina Usama. He said, how can you kill this man? He said, Ya Rasulullah, this is not even a Muslim. He was just... This man came to fight against Sayyidina Usama. This man had a sword. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is upset with Sayyidina Usama to kill a fighter for Allah's sake. If this is with someone that came to fight in a battlefield, how can you justify to kill people that have not even intention to fight against you? And to do this in the name of deen, wallahi, it's not the deen of Islam. It can be any other deen, but it is impossible to be the deen of Islam. Okay. And also, in this surah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about the engagement and the debate with the people of the book, and how we should engage with them in any debate. And also in this surah, Allah speaks about the munafiqeen. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us. Yani, when we speak about the munafiqeen, we are not speaking about some other people. We might be speaking about ourselves. And you need to remember that, subhanallah, all the Sahaba used to be so worried whether they are munafiq or not. And Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu, when he became Khalifa, because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he didn't tell anyone about the names of the munafiqeen other than Sayyidina Hudayfa. So Sayyidina Umar, the day he became Khalifa, he went to Sayyidina Hudayfa. Sayyidina Hudayfa, have Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned my name among the munafiqeen? So when Hudayfa starts crying, Sayyidina Umar starts crying as well. So Hudayfa said, why are you crying? He said, because I am. Khalas, I know. Khalas, you gave me the answer by crying. He said, no, Ya Umar. He didn't mention you, and don't ask me about anyone else from now. But still Sayyidina Umar came and asked him. When he appointed the governors, he said, please help me. This is responsibility of the Ummah. From the people that I chose, is there any munafiq? He said, Ya Umar, don't ask me who it was. There is one. Yani, imagine how tricky they are. They can be one of the governors in the time of Umar ibn Khattab. Umar, that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said the shaitan runs away from. May Allah save us. So we cannot say we are speaking about someone else. No, we are speaking about ourselves. May Allah save us. And then Rabbi subhanahu wa ta'ala, yani the last subject that I could think of, and do not take it as definite, this is from my understanding, is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about the people of the book. Yani the first point that I gave was about how to engage, how to have a debate with them, but this Allah tells us about the people of the book. Okay. There are three stories related to this surah that I need to mention at the very beginning, inshallah. One is related to the yatama. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, Sayyidina Sa'id ibn Jubair, may Allah be pleased with him. Hannah, I think someone wanted you. So mashallah, they became friends now, mashallah.
She used to like to go to the back.
Okay, bismillah. Allah bless them. They are our barakah. Yeah, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to have rahmah on us because of their purity. Wallahi. Sometimes if you were to read, one of our mashayikh said, when I was speaking about the barakah and the khair that comes with kids, he said, I wish to be with in company of no one other than kids. Subhanallah, because what they think of, that you want yaqeen, you find it in them. Yaqeen, the absolute yaqeen, you find it with them. They say they don't care where you get it from. They want something, they say you have to bring it. This is yaqeen. For you, you have to calculate, if I give this, what's going to happen tomorrow, what's happening tomorrow. This is their yaqeen. They want it. And you see, they can't fight. And then they see each other as nothing happened. Everything is gone. Not with us. You keep remembering until Yawm al-Qiyamah. Subhanallah. All the khair is with them. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ya Rabbi, bless them and protect them. May Allah benefit us with the barakah, be in their company. Yeah, now. One was speaks about uncles. Normally, uncle from a father's side is dangerous. Even in inheritance, you don't want your uncle from your father's side because he will share the money with you. That's it. So subhanallah, there was one of the Sahaba. He had his nephew was an orphan, and he was taking care of him. And then when he became aware, conscious, he started asking him to give him his money. And that man was saying, okay, tomorrow, after tomorrow, the day after. So subhanallah, he went to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So Allah revealed ayah, Surat an-Nisa. You are only in charge of the orphans' money until they are fully responsible of themselves. When you see that, you have to give them. And subhanallah, Allah has never described something in a very ugly and evil way. Very ugly way. The worst earning is to eat the money of a yatim, of an orphan, to take advantage of an orphan. And with this we say not only an orphan, to take advantage of everyone that is vulnerable. The ayah is speaking about yatim, but we have to, our understanding of this ayah has to be great. We have to understand it properly. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is speaking the yatim. Why Allah is speaking about the yatim? Because the yatim is vulnerable, is miskeen, cannot defend himself, she cannot defend herself. And that's why even Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaking about the orphan in this surah, Rabbi speaks about the orphan girls. The orphan girls. Allah said, do not marry the orphan girls unless you give them their full rights. Why Rabbi specifically is speaking about the orphan girl? Because normally, whether they are their guardians, the people who are looking after them, they take them for granted, and because there is no one to fight for them, to ask for them, and they are normally, the yatim is vulnerable, they don't ask for their mahar properly, and this. So Allah said, you have to give them their full rights, even if they don't ask. And that's why it is very, very dangerous to deal with the yatim. Very, very dangerous. You have to give them every time everything extra to save yourself, to save your deen. And when that Sahabi came, said, Ya Rasulullah, my heart became dry like a rock. Is there any dhikr that I can do? Is there any ibadah? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, go and find an orphan and just touch the head of an orphan. Imsah ala ra'si. This is your deed. For Allah's sake. Yani Allah made it ibadah for you to hug the orphan, to kiss the orphan, and just to play with their hair. Ya Allah. So one ayah is related to this. And the other ayah is speaks about the mahar of women. Before, even with the Sahaba, they used to the fathers, they used to ask for a lot of mahar, and then they used to take the mahar for themselves. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, it is haram, the mahar is for the girl. Mahar is the dowry. The dowry is for the girl. She can do whatever she wants with that. Neither her husband nor her family have the right to ask her about what did she do with her mahar. So this is related to that. The third ayah, subhanallah, was revealed, subhanallah, Allah revealed ayat in the Quran in a defense of a Jewish man against one Muslim. There was someone, his iman was not that strong anyway. That person, his iman wasn't, in some narration he was from the munafiqeen. He has stolen something. And then he accused the Jewish man. When they came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allah revealed ayat in the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said the Jewish man is right and the one that was claiming to be a Muslim was wrong. So this man went to Umar ibn Khattab and he was with the Jewish man. He said, Ya Umar, this happened. So the Jewish man said to Sayyidina Umar, he said, oh, you. He said, this man, we went to your Nabi and your Nabi judged for me. And after that he's asking you. He said, how good Muslim he is, this man. And after the rule of the Prophet. Sayyidina Umar said, so he said to the man, oh, you went to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? He said, yes. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the Jewish man is right? He said, yes. Okay. Then he said, you are absolute. So he said, can you wait for me? Sayyidina Umar, he went in. He came out with his sword and he killed that man. He said, this is my. He said, if you are not happy with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's judgment, this is Umar anyway. So, subhanallah, there is from the ajaib of this deen. And it shows you that this is the deen of haqq. The Jewish man, even he didn't become Muslim after that. He became later on. But subhanallah, this is the deen. No, because he's a Jewish man. If he's right, then he's right. Mashi? And there is a lot of examples in this Quran that many times Muslims, they used to have issues. And Sayyidina Ali had the issue with the Jewish man, and Sayyidina Umar judged for the Jewish man over Sayyidina Ali. As far as I said it, then I have to say it. SubhanAllah, I think I said this before, didn't I? Sayyidina Ali, radiallahu anhu, he woke up and his shield was stolen. So Sayyidina al-Hasan said, Khalas, it's stolen. Then Sayyidina al-Hasan saw the shield of his father in the market. A Jewish man was selling it. So Sayyidina Hasan came running to his father and said, I think I saw your shield. Because they know, everyone knows, this is the shield that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has given to Sayyidina Ali. So Sayyidina Ali went and he didn't take it from the Jewish man. SubhanAllah, look at the respect that they had. You see now when you hear about this so-called domestic violence and all these ridiculous things. Do you remember the story of the man that his wife was shouting at him? And he came to Sayyidina Umar to complain? Yeah? No? Yeah. A man came to Sayyidina Umar to complain at night. His wife was shouting at him. In that tribal society. He didn't shout back, he didn't hit her. He came to complain. Can you imagine this? The people that they used to bury their daughters alive, how they became Because he wasn't dealing with his wife, he was dealing with Allah. And when he came to Sayyidina Umar, he found Sayyidina Umar was, mashallah, his wife was shouting at him as well. So the man said, you know what, I came for help. And the man himself, he needs help. Sayyidina Umar, he had it, he opened the door, he said, come. He said, no. He said, what? He said, well, I came to complain from something and I found you are suffering from the same. He said, sit down. This is Umar that all the Sahaba used to be so scared from him. But when you are at home, you forget everything. You are not Amir al-Mu'mineen. He was just Umar. So, Sayyidina Umar said, this is my wife. She has cleaned my clothes. She has prepared my food. She looked after my kids. I said, if she shouts at me, so what is it? Doesn't mean that my sisters have to shout. No. It's not good to shout. Huh?
Is it because of all these shouting women that the rules of fighting are in this chapter?
Subhanallah, you know, when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam once, you know, they made all this, subhanallah, when they fight. And you are a loser anyway, so this is what you can do nothing, you cannot fight with them. So subhanallah, they've done, they said to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam every time, they said, we want to leave like everyone else. Well, they said, Ya Rasulullah, وسع لنا في النفقة. We wanted to enjoy our life as well like others. You are doing your da'wah, you are teaching people, but at least we want something as well, a little bit extra. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, those days he wasn't speaking to anyone. Sayyidina Umar, when he came home, that's where he realized his wife was raising her voice. He said, be careful. Do you know what you do? She said, you are not great. You are not better than Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Even your daughter is raising her voice in Rasulullah's house. He said, khabat wa khasirat. He said, she's a loser. She's cursed if she do that to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Sayyidina Umar, he went. He said, look. I don't care about others. If you raise your voice with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, said, I'm going to end your life. Sayyidina Umar. And Sayyidina Hafsa said, you know what? She said, I'm okay with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Just be away from me. And Abu Bakr used to do, but this is the So subhanaka Rabbi. What me? So Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu.
The Jewish man?
Yes. So, Sayyidina Ali, he didn't go and he didn't took the shield from the man. He went to Umar, respecting the order and the authority of the time. He said, Ya Umar, the shield that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has given me was stolen, and we saw it with the Jewish man in the market. So Sayyidina Umar said, do you have any witness that it's yours? He said, my son. He said, your son is not credible. You cannot accept him. The rule of Sharia applies to everyone. Regardless of your position, regardless of whatever you are. And Ya Allah, if we were to be like this as Ummah, look now, all the corruption is in the Muslim world. And subhanallah, it's a shame. And then Sayyidina Umar said, let the Jewish man come. They've called him. So when they sat in front of him, Sayyidina Umar said to Sayyidina Ali, Ijlis ya Abul So Sayyidina Ali was sitting next to Sayyidina Umar. But look, even the respect and the order. And one thing that the most of the rules that they have in the West, they took it from subhanallah from our deen, from our Sharia, because Sayyidina Ali and Shuraih, qada is Judaism system. Yeah, this we have it in details in Islam. how the judge should be very independent. They have to take out himself fully. Those who are in front of you are the same, even if it is your son. And there are a lot of rules, subhanallah, in Sharia. So most of this, they took it from us. Even the order now, how people sit. So Sayyidina Umar said to Sayyidina Ali, Abul Hasan, sit next to him. He was sitting next to Sayyidina Umar. But now, as a matter of justice, Sayyidina Umar is not Sayyidina Ali's friend now. Here, he's a judge. So he said, Ya Abul Hasan, sit next to your opponent. So, and then Sayyidina Ali didn't have the evidence to support his claim. Umar knows that this shield is the shield of Ali. But being a Khalifa, being a judge, it doesn't give him the authority. Yani Sayyidina Ali has to find another credible witnesses to prove that this is his. And even if they prove that it is his, then it has to be 100%. They have to be 100%. And their taqwa will stop them from. They have to be very careful. So Sayyidina Umar said to the Jewish man, this is yours. And then he saw Sayyidina Ali was upset. He said, Ya Abul Hasan, are you upset? Because I've judged against you. I've ruled against you. He said, no. But he said, when you call me Ya Abul Hasan, the name that I love, the name that I like. Ya Abul Hasan. And you call that man Ghareem. Yani Ghareem is
Defendant?
Huh?
Defendant?
Yani when you have two people opponent. So he said, you called him opponent and you called me Abul Hasan. And he said, that is not fair. As you've called me with the name that I like, Abul Hasan, you should have asked him what is his son's name, and then you should call him with his son, Abu Fulan, with his nickname as well. The Jews mentioned, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, and take your shield. And then they didn't tell him, you are a liar, you are a thief. This, no, khalas, now he took shahada, it is a new beginning. Subhanallah. Bismillah. So, this surah, it started with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, Ya ayyuhan nas, O humans, O mankind. The beginning of Surat an-Nisa, Wallahi al-Azim, if all humans were to understand the meaning of it, at least as Muslims, we wouldn't fight against one another. Impossible. Allah said, Ya ayyuhan nasu taqwa rabbakum alladhi khalaqakum min nafsin wahida. O people, be conscious and be aware of your Lord, the one that who has created you from one single soul. Rabbi subhanahu wa ta'ala inspiring us to remember our first father. It's one single soul. It's only Adam alayhi salam. And Allah said, from that single ruh, خَلَقَ مِنْهَا زَوْجَهَا. Allah created his pair. Allah created his wife from him. And then Allah said, وَبَثَّ مِنْهُمَا رِجَالًا كَثِيرًا وَنِسَاءً. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, from these two pairs, created a lot of men and a lot of women. And then Allah reminds us, said, وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ الَّذِي تَسَاءَلُونَ بِهِ وَالْأَرْحَامِ. And be conscious and fear Allah. The one that you ask him, you beg him. And also ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by the blood relation that Allah has created between you. Rabbi is not speaking only about parents and children and brothers and sisters. Rabbi is speaking about the whole human race. This is one of the greatest values that we have in our deen. And Rabbi started Surat an-Nisa with this ayah. To value these human relations. This is what made Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to stand up for the Jewish man's janazah. And when they said, Ya Rasulullah, it is a Jewish man, he said, isn't it a human soul? This is what made Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to protect the names of the munafiqeen. so that people cannot insult them and attack them. Even he didn't even disclose the names of the munafiqeen. And how dangerous it is when you have the munafiqeen in front of within you. As we said, if Umar has chose one of the munafiqeen to be a governor, how many women they will find their husbands are from the munafiqeen? And how many husbands they will find with their wife were from the munafiqeen? How many parents their children? How many brothers? This is how it is. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made you responsible of you. You work for the common good, but also subhanallah to respect this main thing, that you are dealing with your brother and your sister, no matter how this person, who this person is. That's what Allah said, الذي يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة. O people, be conscious and be aware and fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the one who has created you from one single soul. Subhanallah. This is a great ayah. Understanding this is what made Imam Bukhari to write the book of Hadith from Bukhara, not from Mecca or Medina. This is the book, this is the principle that made Abu Hanifa to be the first Imam in fiqh from Persia, not from Hijaz. This is what made Sayyidina Bilal to be the first mu'adhin. This is the deen. All the ahkam, all the rules that we have cannot, is taken from this single ayah in every aspect of our life. In every aspect of our life. The deen that tells you that you shouldn't show the knife to the animals. The deen that tells you, Sayyidi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is going, Yarhamukullah. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is going around in Medina, and he saw a camel, and he's asking, who is the owner of this camel? And this Sahabi, very excited, said, Ya Rasulullah, it's me. He said, but you are not treating your camel fairly. You are making your camel to work a lot, and you are not feeding your camel enough. This deen. That, subhanallah, when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam came to Medina, it was the worst city ever. It was the worst city ever. It was not good for humans to live in Medina before Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The water was contaminated, a lot of illnesses. And Sayyidina Abu Bakr and Sayyidina Bilal, they were sick, and Amr ibn Fahira and Sayyidina Abu Bakr was saying poems, and Sayyidina Bilal was remembering Mecca, and they were saying, what are we doing in this city? Subhanallah, how Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam treated this. By making them work in cleaning this water for everyone. The problem of the migrants of Mecca, the Meccans, Masakin, they don't know, they are not farmers. They don't know farming. Because there is no farming in Mecca. No farming. The land is dry. Desert. There is nothing you can do. So when they came to Medina, all these migrants, what do? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam wanted them to work. It's human dignity. It is human honor. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to them, and also to destroy the riba system that was in Medina. Because there were few rich people, they were holding into the land. They do whatever they want with it, and the rest of the Arabs, Masaki, were just farmers. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, anyone who brings to life a piece of land, that piece of land is his or hers. Khalas. Now you've created job. This is dividing, subhanallah, the resources fairly. And these immigrants, all of them, they became farmers. That's why you understanding when Umar ibn Khattab, when the people came. You know, Amr ibn al-As, when he entered Mecca, to see this Eid, when he entered Mecca, he saw a very beautiful house on a mountain. So Amr ibn al-As said, this should be a mosque. He said to the lady, sell it to me. She said, I'm not going to sell it. He said, okay. They said, tell me the value of the house. Independent evaluation. We give her money and demolish it and build a mosque. This lady, she saw Amr ibn al-As in his power. She was crying. This is her house. And if this was to be allowed, that was to be invasion of Egypt. Someone is coming and taking all the resources. So they said, oh, why don't you go to the Khalifa? I said, who is the Khalifa? He said, yeah, the boss of Amr ibn al-As. Where is he? He said, he's in Medina. This lady, she went all the way to Medina. When she went to Medina, she's asking about Umar. And she saw Amr ibn al-As was in the governor's house with all his presence in his haiba. Said, where is the Khalifa? They told the Khalifa is now, it is the time that he is working for his earning, for his family. His land, his family. So she went. She saw Umar ibn Khattab, he was wearing nothing. Because as I said, they used to wear like what the people wear in Umrah. In his farming, he's not going to wear the upper clothes. So he was farming and he was sweating. So she said, a sweaty, tall man, a sweaty in the farm. So she said, you know what, I don't have to speak to this man. So Umar ibn Khattab said, stop, what do you want? And she saw the voice of Umar. She said, I came from Egypt. He said, okay. The governor took my house and he made it into mosque. Look, Amr ibn al-As, he didn't take it for him. He didn't give it to his families, as all the corrupt people that do it now. He made it a mosque, but he wasn't allowed. Umar ibn Khattab got upset. There was a bit, the bone that was thrown. He took that bone, he cleaned it, and he wrote in that bone, "Min Amir al-Mu'minin Umar ibn Khattab, ila Amr ibn al-As." From Umar ibn Khattab, Amir ibn Amr ibn al-As, our governor in Egypt. He said, you cannot take people's land to make a house of Allah in it. Return the house to the lady. Allah doesn't need your mosque. Wassalam. Finish. Now this lady, she's looking at this bone. I said, what a journey it is. I've wasted my time. That's what she's saying. I've wasted my time. She came, when she came, she said, what did you do? I went to someone, he was a farmer, a sweaty man, and he gave me this piece of bones. They said, oh, give it to him. I said, are you joking? He said, you want me to give it to the governor, this bone? He said, go. When she gave it to him, Amr ibn al-As said, Sam'an wa ta'an ya Amir al-Mu'minin. This is, he went, and he said, we will rebuild your house for you the way you want. And the money that we gave you is yours. And he apologized. She took Shahada. This is how people, they became Muslims. When they were respected. When they were given the respect. This is all comes from this ayah. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة. And then subhanallah, the respect increases. You respect someone just because that person is a human being first. And if they are mu'min, Allahu Akbar becomes greater. If they are if they are closest to you, if they are your friend, then subhanallah, it increases. This is your deen. This is your deen, this is your sharia. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة. This is the first message of this surah. The second message of this surah is, it speaks about what I said earlier, the orphans and the rights of an orphan girls for a mahar that is for the other girls. Exactly. Being vulnerable, being an orphan, not finding someone to defend you or to ask your right for you, it doesn't make you, subhanAllah, it doesn't allow others to take advantage of that. And then it speaks about something that might upset my sisters. Also, it is the issue of تعدد الزوجات. Polygamy, is that what you call it? Polygamy. And in this, Allah and in this, I will tell you one thing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it very clear in the Quran. فَإِنْ خِفْتُمْ أَلَّا تَعْدِلُوا فَوَاحِدًا. If you are worried that you might not be just, then stick with one. Okay? In another ayah, Allah said, وَلَنْ تَعْدِلُوا بَيْنَ النِّسَاءِ وَلَوْ حَرَصْتُمْ. And you will never be just, even if you are much more careful. So I would say simply to all my sisters, Allah is not saying go and marry 4 wives. Allah didn't say that in the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, speaking about the permissibility. And we know from Sayyidi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he got married wives that he has never had any interaction with them. When he got married to Sayyida Sauda, she was older than Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, she was in her 80s. And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was in his 50s. And even she said, Ya Rasulullah, there is nothing you can do with me. I am not khalas. And yet Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he married her for one single reason. So that he doesn't want to give her sadaqah, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, because she was a widow. He doesn't want to give her sadaqah. But once she is married to him, then khalas, she will put her hands in his pocket. You understand? Otherwise, Sayyida Sauda, she has never had even, she said to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Ya Rasulullah, I'm giving you my night, the night that I have, I'm giving it as a gift, as sadaqah, to Aisha. So she was, you understand? So marriage was a responsibility. And at that time, things were different than our time. The Sahaba used to be very responsible people. They wouldn't allow anyone. Imagine just Sayyida Asma bint Umays, radiyallahu anha. She was married to Sayyidina Ja'far al-Tayyar. When Sayyidina Ja'far died, she had children. What she's going to do? She's not going to work. There is no job even for men, let alone for women. So Sayyidina Abu Bakr, she was married to Sayyidina Abu Bakr radiyallahu anhu. Then Sayyidina Abu Bakr died, Sayyidina Ali married her. This is how they used to do. They used to cover the things. And you see it in example of Sayyidina Umar. Sayyidina Umar, when his daughter Sayyidina Hafsa became widow, when her husband died, he went to Sayyidina Abu Bakr. He said, Ya Abu Bakr, will you marry my daughter? My daughter became widow. This is the man asking. And there is no shame in this. There is no shame. To go and to ask someone honorable, someone that you think he will respect and he will honor your daughter, to go and to say, will you marry my daughter? And this is our Salihin used to do. Sayyidina Sa'id bin Musayyib, one of the Tabi'een, the Khalifa came to marry his daughter and he said no. And then he went to beg one of his students to marry his daughter. When they said, he said, this man has taqwa and that man has money. He can marry my daughter and he can marry many others as well. He will treat her like any other woman. But this man has taqwa, he will respect her and he will honor her. So Sayyidina Umar went, Sayyidina Abu Bakr said, you know what, I cannot. I had enough. So he went to Sayyidina Uthman. Sayyidina Uthman said, let me think about it. And Sayyidina Umar said, I felt very much insulted. Sayyidina Uthman said to him, let me think about it. And then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam proposed. So that was, they were taking care of each other. Does that make sense? And this is what Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he went to marry Sayyidah Salama, she said, you cannot marry me. I've got a lot of kids. I'm older than you, and I'm a very jealous woman. And he said, subhanallah, your children are my children. The issue of age, it is irrelevant for him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When he was 25, he married Sayyidah Khadija, sallallahu alaihi wa alihi wasallam. And before her, he married Sayyidah Sauda. She was 8 years old. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was 50 years old. So to come back to the point, people can speak as much as they want about this case. I'm not going to come to try to justify. However, because this is the rule of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But Rabbi subhanahu wa ta'ala made it for a great wisdom. And this wisdom, it exists. Regardless. However, I say, people have to be very careful. The deen is not telling you. Some people say, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it halal for me. Allah wanted you as well to do qiyamul layl every night. Do qiyamul layl every night, then other than, you only choose this one from the Sharia. There are many things that Allah gave you in this Quran, in this deen to do. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Man kana lahu fadlu malin." If you have extra money, share it with those who doesn't have money. If you have extra room, share it with those who doesn't have house. If you have extra right, give it to those who doesn't have a right. That is also deen. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that. Do you give that? So subhanallah, don't tell me Allah has allowed me to marry. No, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala there was a need as it was in many other situations. We have to understand that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you a room, it might come a time you understand it. It might come a time that you understand this. Okay. I know people might have a very, very strong opinion about this. But I will tell you one thing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not prescribe anything without a great benefit for us as humans. I might look at it, but subhanallah, but if what is driving us to it is our desires, then there is no khair in this. And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in another hadith, he said, he cursed, لَعَنَ اللَّهُ الذَّوَّاقِينَ. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam cursed some type of man. That they keep getting married, they get married this one, and then subhanallah, okay, they get married this one, they get. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam cursed this type of people. So that should be. So also it speaks about this. And I say most of my sisters, they only see Allah has allowed for women. What about why not for not for women, not for men? This is ridiculous. But however, we say, always look at this ayah. Allah said, in khiftum alla ta'dilu. If you are worried that you might not be just, then stick with the one. Even the one is big responsibility. And I know one of my teachers, he's alive, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rahmah on him, he didn't get married. And he said it is a big responsibility that I don't want to take. May Allah save us. But if people are to follow his example, no woman will be happy in this dunya as well. So alhamdulillah. So it is one of the parts, and I hate, especially now, many mashayikh when they start saying the social need, this need, the number of women is more than the number of men. This is ridiculous. When you try to justify, when you try to do this, you make even things worse. What if the number of men is more? If it comes a time that the number of men is more, are we going to change the rule of Sharia to make it the other way around? No, this is ridiculous. We shouldn't go into this level. But just for you to understand the beauty of it. The beauty of it was this: in the Medina society, no woman was left alone. Subhanallah. Naam.
Sayyidi,
Bismillah.
may Allah bless you.
Astaghfirullah.
When you say things, you explain them very clearly. What I've heard from you, I would think that the men would be upset, not the women. But you said the women might get upset about this.
Alhamdulillah, they're not upset, I think.
we're not saying that. This, what you said about Sayyidah Asma bint Umais, she got married like again and again and again. That's because her husband passed away.
Yeah.
Not because she got divorced and then got married again and again. Somebody said to me that Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he was with Sayyidah Khadija, he was only married to her, and Sayyidah Fatima, when Sayyidina Ali wanted to get married, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So those were his rules. Did he not believe in that then? When it was just, did he marry all of the other mothers of our mothers? Did he just marry them just because there were certain responsibilities and there were certain purposes? But the actual act of marriage for him to stay married for such a long time just to Sayyidah Khadija, and what he taught his daughters, were any of his daughters co-wives? Were any of Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu daughters?
Jazakallah khair. First of all, Sayyidah Khadija, Rasulullah sallallahu relationship with Sayyidah Khadija was, inshallah, we'll come to this also, inshallah. One thing we'll come to it is also the purpose of marriage in Islam. This is beyond this kind of physical or financial relations. It is beyond that. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's marriage to Sayyidah Khadija was greater than any bonds. That's why Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he wasn't only married to her for the 15 years or for the 25 years in Mecca. He was married to her until the last day of his life, because he didn't love anyone more than her. That's why he said, when Sayyidah Aisha said to him, Ya Rasulullah, you keep remembering that old lady and Allah has replaced you with the young girl. He said, Allah has never replaced me with better than Khadija. It is what we said in the Taraweeh, I think, before yesterday. When Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam came to Mecca, his wife was with him. Aisha was with him. Fatima, his daughter, was with him. But he chose to be with Khadija in her grave. That was. And as he loved Sayyidah Khadija and she loved him, there was Sayyidah Khadija, she didn't love Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam only as a man. She loved him as a nur. She saw Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I'm not quite sure how many of you remember when we had the lecture in Harrow some time ago about Sayyidah Khadija. So Sayyidah Khadija, she said, if you are him, and she put his hands in his chest, she said, if you are him, so that was very different. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam could see no one with Sayyidah Khadija. Imagine what was the life of Sayyidah Khadija with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam after their marriage, when they have kids, the time that Sayyidah Khadija wanted to enjoy with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was going to the cave of Hira. Not 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. He used to stay there months. And Sayyidah Khadija, she wouldn't allow, she was a rich woman, she had a lot of servants. She didn't allow anyone to cook for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam other than herself. And she was to carry the food herself to the cave. And she was older than Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was 40 at that time, Sayyidah Khadija was almost 55. And to go, and you've seen the cave of Hira, how difficult it is to go. Even now with mashallah, Sayyidah Khadija was going there. So Sayyidah Khadija with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that relationship was beyond anyone's understanding. It is deep. And you have to understand Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, everything about Sayyidah Khadija was mu'jizat. At that time, it was very much impossible for a woman at Sayyidah Khadija's age to give birth. Because life was difficult. They were physically were not able. And Sayyidah Khadija, after that, she gave birth to 6. So Sayyidah Khadija is a special case, and it is a special case. It is Allah's choice for Sayyidina Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, as the others. But with Sayyidah Khadija, it wasn't responsibility. It was that joy. Imagine, subhanAllah, just take that hadith. When Sayyidah Khadija was coming to him with food, he smiled and he said, Ya Rasulullah. I said, why are you smiling, Ya Rasulullah? He said, Jibreel came to me right now and said, Khadija is coming. So Sayyidah Khadija is not even in the door. He smiled and said, Ya Khadija, Jibreel came to me and he said, Khadija is coming to you with some food. Allah is give her salam. So Jibreel is giving you salam and Allah is giving you salam. Sayyidah Khadija, she saw the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam came to her after Ghar Hira and she said, you are Nabi. You are Rasul. This iman of Sayyidah Khadija. And what a shame when some people say she's not the first mu'min. For Allah's sake. And someone says someone else is better than Sayyidah Khadija. And they write this. Shame on them. Shame on them. You cannot love Allah or His Rasul by disrespecting Sayyidah Khadija in any way. That is the deen of our deen. This is Sayyidah Khadija. So Sayyidah Khadija, it was different. When he was getting married, all his wives, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if we go one by one, and I'm so happy to do so. And before, I think there was, I was asked this question in Medina College a long time ago, and I think it took us quite 2 weeks. And at that time, we used to learn 5 hours a day and 6 days a week. So it took us 2 weeks. Inshallah ta'ala, either the brothers, they take that for you, that out for you. Maybe it is recorded or somewhere. Or maybe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us another chance. When we go through it, subhanAllah, every time you learn more. But if you go each and every one of them, subhanAllah, that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam married, other than Sayyidah Khadija, all of them, even divorced, he said, widows, divorced women, yes. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that Zainab, she was divorced. And the wife of Sayyidina Thabit ibn Qais ibn Shammas, she was divorced. The Sahaba, their life was normal. It's not like now, in our time, everything, marriage is big musibah. That's why the young said they are not going to get married. Who is going to get married the way we make marriage? It is. There used to be, there was a lot of divorce. And they used to get married. So there was no room, subhanAllah, the wife of Sayyidina Abdullah, the son of Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu anhu, he loved her in Jahiliyyah, miskin. He loved her so much. And then in Islam he married her. And then Sayyidina Abu Bakr started missing his son in Salah. He said, what is happening? So when he came, he saw his wife was in the first floor, and her husband, the son of Sayyidina Abu Bakr, was singing for her and saying poems to her from the ground floor. So Sayyidina Abu Bakr said, this man is losing his direction. He said, you have to divorce this woman, you became a fitna for you. La ilaha illallah. And he did, and he became sick. He became very sick. As Ibn Farid rahmatullahi alayhi says, he warns you from in this path of khair. Said, I warn you from love. Don't get closer to it, because you will get nothing other than illness and weakness and problems. So he keep warning you, Ibn al-Farid rahmatullah. Shaykh Ibn al-Farid, he warns you. And then he tells you, but if you are wise, he said, you are not going to listen to my advice. He said, that death, he said, that love will kill you, but he said, your life is in that death. Your life is in that death. Subhanallah. Rahmatullahi alayhi. So maskeen, So he became sick. So the Sahaba, subhanallah, they were very soft. They said, you Abu Bakr, your son is died. He loved this woman, let him go back to her. So he said, okay, bismillah. He went back to her, but that illness killed him. So she said the poem. I've never loved anyone like him. There is no one like him. And he said, I will never marry after him. And she was miskeen. Sayyidina Umar, she was his cousin. She was Sayyidina Umar's cousin. Sayyidina Umar came to propose after the iddah. She said, how can I marry you? I wrote a poem and I said, I'm not going to marry after him. He said, you can fast 3 days. And so he said, okay, when she got married to Sayyidina Umar, Sayyidina Ali came to visit him. He told him, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, will you give me just, he said, can I have a minute to speak to your wife? He said, yes, you can. So Sayyidina Ali said to her, are you not the one who said this and this and this? He reminded of that poem. How can you get married again? You forgot all that love that you had for Abdullah? Sayyidina Umar said, may Allah forgive you. He said, I have to go through Allah to convince her. Subhanallah. Sayyidina Umar died. She was married to Sayyidina Zubair ibn al-Awwam.
Is this Sayyida Asma bint Umais?
No. This is Atika, the Sayyidina Abu Bakr's son's wife. So she was married to Sayyidina Abdullah, and then to Sayyidina Umar, and then to Sayyidina Zubair. And Sayyidina Zubair as well died. And then Sayyidina Ali proposed. She said, Ya Amir al-Mu'minin, I don't want you to die. I think it is my nasib. Whoever I get married to, they die. SubhanAllah, Sayyidina Ali didn't marry her. Sayyidina al-Hussein married her. Sayyidina Hussein died. SubhanAllah. Yani. So, SubhanAllah, yes. Yani, this was their life. And you know what? It was a simple life. It was an honest life. It was a beautiful life. They didn't have all these complications that we have. Now, two husband and wife, they had a problem. This family, this tribe, that tribe, this nation, that nation. It became a world war. What is this? If you leave them alone, wallahi, they will sort it out together. The role of people is to support them. It was a simple. Simplicity is rahmah, wallah. Wallahi, simplicity is rahmah. So, when it comes to Sayyidah Fatima, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam made it clear. He said, Ala inni, before saying anything, first of all, it shows you, for any father that can stand for his daughter, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is giving you, a great example. Sayyidah Fatima, when she came to him, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam stood up. First of all, this is Fatima. His love, salawat rabbi wa salam alayhi. Fatima, that the Rasulullah was standing up for her. Fatima, with the nur of Iman. Fatima, that the one that was defending Sayyidina Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, which was 5 years old. So he said, Ayyuhan nas. He made it an issue for the whole people, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. He went to the member. I said, oh people, the son of Abu Talib. He didn't call him Ali now. So the son of Abu Talib, he wanted to marry another woman. And he said, Wallah, I'm not making the halal haram. And I'm making haram halal. See? But he said, Fatima bid'atu minni. Fatima is part of me. It bothers me what bothers her. It hurts me what hurts her. Clear. And that's why Sayyidina Al-Hafidh Al-Iraqi said, I will never prefer anyone, whoever he is, over Sayyidah Fatima, because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said she is part of me, and no one can be greater than part of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is how it was. But look, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave his daughter Ruqayya to Sayyidina Uthman. She died, and he gave him his daughter Kulthum. She died, and then he said, if you have daughters, give them to Uthman. If I was to have a third daughter, I would give her to Uthman. No one would love to see his son-in-law, after the death of his daughter, to go and get married. Will people be happy? I'm asking you, naturally, that's something that is normal? But Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam knows that it is his right. Uthman, out of his shyness, because he was married to the daughter of Rasulullah, he might not get married. This is Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam giving him away. So, yes, even the divorce, they used to get married for Sayyidah Fatima. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam stood up for her, and every father can stand up for his daughter. He can say, I'm not allowing you. Subhanallah, they have the right. They have the right. They can say, he wanted to put a condition, he can put it a condition. People will upset if I say that, but I go that far. You say, I don't want you to marry another one with my wife. Then it is up to that person whether to say yes and go in, or to say no. But tomorrow he can come to you as well and he say, you know what, the condition that you put for me is invalid. Anyway, Bismillah. Did I answer your question, Mubarak?
Thank you for listening to the Quran Tafsir, Understanding the Word of Allah. Help Seekers Hub give light to millions around the world by becoming a monthly donor at seekershub.org/donate. Your donations are tax deductible in the US and Canada.